Greetings and salutations, good friends, and welcome to Blades in Paradise. My name is Dr. Winston Thoreau, and I will be your guide to the perils and pleasures of our paradise amidst the post-apocalyptic Pacific Northwest. Now, we'll get to the chicanery and shenanigans momentarily, but before we do, allow me to deliver some news. Blades in Paradise is an actual play podcast run in John Harper's Blades in the Dark, and we're sponsored by the developer Evil Hat Games. Use code BARDROCK10 at checkout to save on your order. Bard Rock Network is sponsored by Dragon Master Games. Visit dragonmastergames.com for all your CCG, TCG, TTRPG, and miniature game needs. If you enjoyed the stories we tell, you can tip us on Ko-fi or visit us at patreon.com/bardrockcafe. By sponsoring the network, you not only help us provide an ever-expanding library of shows, but gain access to bonus content, the network Discord, quarterly backer games with the network community, and an annual swag bag. Now, without further ado, let's join Lizzie, Sterling, and Max, as well as myself, the crew of ESPN. Enjoy.
Blades in Paradise is a dystopian story intended for adults. These stories intentionally address challenging topics that might not be suitable for all ears. This campaign includes content warnings for gun violence, child endangerment, animal cruelty, unintentional misgendering of a non-binary person, substance use, and graphic descriptions of injuries, including the eyes. Listener discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, corporate sabotage is considered an especially heinous crime. In the city of Paradise, one such case is coming to trial today. This is that story. Bum bum! Hello, and welcome back to Blades in Paradise, now a legal drama. I'm Paul, the Blades Daddy for Campaign 1. Today, and for the rest of this arc, I'm not only joined by my usual Gremlin players, but also a special guest star. Everyone, please welcome Janie Potts.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Janie.
Yay! Woo!
Greetings and salutations.
Alright, so Janie, on Blades in Paradise, we start each episode by going around and having the players introduce themselves, their character and playbook, and one fun fact about their character. Also, I've received the feedback that I should be asking everyone to state their pronouns themselves and their character, so we're going to start doing that in introductions as well. I'm asking everyone to do that this episode.
He's not a lawyer, but he'll show you his briefs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Winston Thoreau. Hi, everyone. My name is Jim. I play Dr. Winston Thoreau. Pronouns for both myself and the good doctor are he, him. Today's fun fact about Dr. Winston Thoreau is that at one point he spent a night in a jail cell. It was not intentional. He happened to spend a little bit too much time out at the bar and wandered into a local precinct, at which point they placed him in the drunk tank. And that is the closest that he has been to being involved in any type of legal proceedings.
The closest? Really?
He usually is able to talk his way out of things.
Sure.
Okay, well, there was the tax evasion thing that we won't get into because it may or may not impinge upon what we're doing at ESPN, but we'll get into that later when it comes up.
And the human trafficking.
Listen, they're ghosts. They're not technically human anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, they live in the soul bottles.
Live?
They unalive? They unalive.
Phenomenal cosmic power. Itty-bitty living space.
Exactly. Hello, my name is Justin. I will be playing your old codger today, Maximilian Graves. Little known fact about Max that he would love for you to know is that while he has been in and out of the quote-unquote system a few times, it's always been on his own terms. He knew exactly what he was doing every single time, and twice on Sunday. But another thing is, he would like you to know that blood boils at around 100 degrees Celsius, just so you know, and that's about 212 degrees Fahrenheit for all of you living inside the United States. That only happened to him once, and it was with Dr. Winston Thoreau's mom.
I don't even know who she is at this point.
He was an orphan, actually, so that's a big question.
Please tell me who my mommy is.
The audience probably picked up on the he, him pronouns from Max. Justin, you are also he, him pronouns, correct?
I am.
Fantastic.
I just want to say that I am now the second character that Max has claimed to be parentage and or have fathered in some capacity.
slash great-grandfathered. No, I am.
Great-grandfathered.
I'm Queenie. I play Lizzie Calhoun, and pronouns for both myself and Lizzie are she, her. And though we raise pickles, cucumbers to pickle up, my family also raises some not so legal substances also. But everybody else does too around there, so there's no law.
Well, it's complicated because Tightwad is technically a township, and like the way that West Coast is like all the city-states are owned by Lantern Corps, but you're not citizens of those cities, so like you had to make your own laws. So unless Mary McCheese has a problem with it, you're probably fine.
And I am just fascinated with the fact that you guys figured out how to hybridize moonshine and marijuana. That's like, wow.
I'm more impressed by the fact they are growing entire jars of pickles on the vine.
That's true.
I did refresh
I know, but
I didn't think Mayor McCheese had any lettuce.
Mayor McCheese doesn't, but Mom and Pa do.
Oh, Mayor McCheese wants all the lettuce on his butt. Anyway, Riley, it's your turn.
Hi, I'm Riley. Use they pronouns. I play Sterling the Tank, who mostly uses they pronouns, but you're fine. Fucking ready for whatever's brewing. Sterling used to do mock trial and debate team club, which in Paradise means a bunch of kids arguing until inevitably there had to be blood.
It wouldn't be a sterling fact if it didn't eventually involve gratuitous violence. And then that leaves our guest, Janie, who has had plenty of time to think about the fun fact about her character, who's going to be Benny's lawyer. Janie, you're up.
Hi, I'm Janie, she, they pronouns. I am playing Juliana Georgia Wentworth, attorney at law. Sometimes I use my initials, JG.
That's outstanding.
Strong name.
And I also would like to tell you that I was Miss Peach Cobbler 3 years running in our local festival, and I have never lost the case.
This is going to make me directly change the facts I had in here, because I did have in my prep that there's a 98% conviction rate, which means you apparently have only represented the 2% of people who win their cases, which is very impressive.
There's a reason that we paid her coin.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with it. I'm really, really picky about what cases I pick, and the people who are also picky.
All right, and then what playbook did you choose for Miss Wentworth?
The Spider, I believe.
I think it's Spider. Or is it the Spider? I need to look now. Am I remembering wrong?
Details.
It is the Spider. Okay. I was wrong, as I often am.
You could always be like Max and not have any clue what you're doing.
All right, well, anyway, thank you all, as always, for your lovely introduction. Last time, the party returned to Paradise after a successful heist of the famous footwear facility and had some much-needed downtime. Winston finished his hospital project, and the grand reopening of the hospital ceremony held in 2 days' time, with Misters Proctor and Gamble invited as guests of honor. Sterling's old friend, Mercy, showed up and informed Sterling that famous Nathan was blackmailing her into driving in the Wastelander race next week. And then, when the party finally slept for the night, someone broke into all of their homes and stole something from each of them except Max. Skylar, the Beanie Baby from Sterling, Whiskey Bottle Decoder Lens from Lizzie, and Winston's Championship Tier Combat Critters deck for some reason. Why were these oddly specific things taken and who stole them? Let's find out today on Blades in Paradise. You all rendezvous at ESPN headquarters in the early hours of the morning after exchanging a radio call and confirming 3 of you have been robbed. You do have a meeting with Benny's attorney coming up soon, and Benny's trial starts in a few hours. What do you all do?
All right, team. It seems as if we may have underestimated our opponents. Who besides Sloppy Joe, may he rest in peace, knew we even had these keys on us?
As far as I know, nobody.
Was there anyone else around in Tightwad when we were solving the puzzle?
Only ones that I trust.
Possibly, maybe there was a certain somebody who I may or may not have shanked indiscriminately in the neck. I don't trust her.
She wouldn't steal from me for something that's useless to her.
Right, but things that may be useless to her could be quite valuable to somebody else.
She won't work for anybody in the city unless it's me.
Are you sure about that, Lizzie?
Yeah, I'm sure. She doesn't trust anybody in the city. The only reason she trusts me is because I'm from there.
Lizzie, as much as I hate to say it this way, coin talks.
I get that.
All right.
We'll keep that in our back pocket, but, I mean, Sloppy Joe was a homunculus, and who's to say that they couldn't see through him?
I don't think that's how that works. They're just kind of like a big living jar. Like, I mean, you make pickles over in Tightwad, right?
Yes, I know what you're trying to get at.
Just because you put the pickles in the jar doesn't mean that you can eat them without opening the jar.
But also, Nathan did some really weird stuff with them.
Listen, I know we're all still trying to figure out what happened, which reminds me, Sterling, can you call over to, and I know you're not going to want to do this, but can you call over to the police department and try to get the report for what happened at Famous Footwear? I think we might need some of that information for Benny's upcoming trial. If we can prove that the subway employees didn't actually die in the dirigible crash, it's at least some of the charges that we can get dropped.
Sure thing, Doc.
Thank you.
Would you like someone with how did the youngsters put it, someone with little Riz to go with you? I love Riz. They're great. They're little round crackers. I don't know what that has to do with convincing people, but Riz crackers are my favorite.
Lizzie, why don't you and I head over to the train station and try to see if we can get any kind of clues whatsoever. Maybe interview some people who work there, maybe the person who broke into the locker left something behind that could be of some use to us.
Well, and if we get over there fast enough, we might catch them breaking in.
And even if we can't, he still has to solve the puzzle before he can get the information.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get over there right now then.
As you turn to walk out the door, but you actually hear the bell ring and somebody walks in. Of course, it's too early for customers, but no, the attorney you hired is here for the appointment you had this morning, which is ostensibly why you met here. Janie, why don't you describe your character and tell us how they entered the room?
The attorney that walks in is a tall woman with dark brown skin, and her hair is swept up in a bun. She's got basically a power suit, I guess, and walks in with an air of authority.
Greetings and salutations. We're not open for business quite yet.
I am Juliana Wentworth, your attorney.
Oh, Sloppy Joe. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry I sent him to your office. I mean, he was a wonderful man, did his job well, God rest his soul, but I'm sorry for whatever he did to your office.
You'll be invoiced for it.
Great, wonderful, love that.
Miss Wentworth, you distinctly recall the very large, smelly man who came and dropped an absurd amount of money to hire you for this case. He smelled like all the dead and smelly things. Like, imagine the three worst things you ever smelled, mix them together, and amplify them by 10. That was Sloppy Joe.
Much like his namesake, he was made of loose meat.
Did the payment have a cleaning fee included?
Well, I certainly hope so.
I would hope so. I mean, knowing Joe.
I mean, normally what we do is we, after we're finished, we pick up all the debris, do a thorough scrubbing, bleach everything so that there's no traces. There's also, what is that machine we use to launder money?
Okay, this is attorney-client privilege. Everything that we say here cannot and will not be used against us in any court of law. Ms. Wentworth, I don't know how much Joe filled you in on what happened, but our good friend, mentor, in some cases, maybe question mark father, Max looking in your direction, uncle, relative of some kind, he gave his freedom away to protect us for what happened in that crash. What do you need to know?
I will need to know what exactly the charges were, what charges you're fighting, and I think I can work with this.
So, we're being charged for, bringing the blimp down, 1. 2, interfering with Subway's business, corporate espionage, which I believe is one of the capital crimes here in Paradise. If I'm correct, I'm a doctor, not a lawyer. I am a doctor, by the way. I want you to know that. Board-certified phantasmologist and licensed practicing spiritologist. That is the extent of Benny's accusations. Fun fact, we did crash the blimp. Also fun fact, Sterling's friend may or may not be the person responsible for the investigation.
Now, how do they think that you crashed, that you supposedly crashed this apparent blimp?
Well, we are from different organizations. There was a bit of a kerfuffle. Young Sterling and I, we arrived and were on board at the time, but I don't recall that we caused any problems. Aside from possibly destroying almost all the parachutes, there was a thing where we metaphorically blew up the bathroom.
That may or may not have happened. Is there any proof that it happened?
Well...
The fire was caused by someone else who was wearing the flamethrower at the time. I was not armed.
I mean, don't put yourself down like that, my friend. You are very well armed. Look at you.
This is looking very good so far. I mean, who knows what happened up there?
So I feel like I, above the game, is the keep need to remind you all that Grace, Sterling's quote friend, did recover the black box with all the footage of everywhere on the blimp, including you shredding the parachutes and picking a fight with somebody with a flamethrower.
Yeah, I was remembering that, but I'm not sure that Lizzie would know it, so I hadn't spoke up.
It was expressly on the news report that Lizzie saw.
Oh, okay.
So yes.
They have the black box with the proof on it.
But no one, to your knowledge, has seen the footage yet because Benny turned himself in to prevent them from opening the footage.
That's how that works.
They have the box, but once they got Benjamin Franks, they had his confession. They didn't need to do anything else.
Box is in police custody right now?
I don't think it's in the police custody. I don't think Grace, Sterling, you would know better than I. Would she trust the police to hold on to that?
Grace doesn't trust anybody.
Where is the box right now?
I'll answer that question. The box is in evidence. The prosecutor probably has it because it's still evidence for the case.
All right, and you said there's evidence of the parachutes being shredded.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Black boxes are usually in the cockpit, and that happened in the cargo. Probably not.
It's complicated. Basically, there's security footage.
Oh, okay.
So basically it has footage of all the cameras on the blimp too. Just for expediency, I did write down the facts of the case. There'd be a version of some of this, so just to expedite this conversation.
That's the only thing, right, that they have the evidence of?
That the party knows about?
Well, that and all of the employees that were on the blimp are missing. And we know for a fact that they died at the famous factory.
Well, no, you don't know that.
Well, we do. We were there.
No, you don't know that.
We were the ones that unalived them.
Yeah, it would stop the whole they didn't die in the blimp crash if...
Are you certain?
They died there?
Did you dream it, possibly? It was a very traumatic experience.
Well, there was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Actually, it was a fucking Deathclaw from Fallout, excuse me.
I don't think you saw it. I think that you were traumatized.
This is the best legal advice ever.
I get exactly what Mrs. Wentworth is talking about.
All right.
J.D. Wentworth, if I may be so bold to use your initials. Here's the problem. You see, everyone survived, and then didn't later, and it's very complicated. But as far as I know, if memory serves, which it usually doesn't in my case, but if memory serves, a black box is connected to more of the audio-visual, but can only be viewed after it is taken away from the crash site. So there has to be some sort of device that plugs into it, correct?
Well, yes. But also, you said your memory isn't great, so you don't know what happened there.
Well, I mean, I'm not great on what happened last Tuesday, but
Allegedly, this happened. Allegedly, you were there, but we don't know this. And if we could take care of that black box somehow, none of us knows what happened.
So we need to steal the black box. We need to somehow indispose of the prosecutor and or star witness.
I'm not hearing any
And
of this right now. All I hear you talking about is how traumatized you were and how you're thinking of what's doing.
oh, we have attorney-client privilege, don't we? I mean, I can tell you that I'm going to go ahead and kill the Pope, and you can't do anything about that.
well, technically, attorney-client privilege only. Never mind. I'll be quiet now. I don't have a law degree.
I didn't hear any of that. But if I did hear it, I would say that you're coming up with a plan.
You think I should kill the Pope?
That might solve more problems than you know.
Well, let's take care of this first before we do any other extracurricular activities.
I still don't... Sterling, what would killing the Pope have to do with getting Benny out of prison? I'm missing the point of this.
I don't know, but I'll do it.
That will save the world right now, save Benny.
Correct. It's not going to do anything for your friend, but we can revisit that later after we finish this case.
Oh, you were talking about the other stuff.
Yes.
It's weird. The Vatican City is still fully operational in this dystopian apocalypse, and the Pope is still very much in charge of it.
The Pope is also a vampire.
They are actually now called the Mega Pope.
Well, you shouldn't really talk about him too much because of the licensing fees.
I heard if you say the Pope's name 3 times in a row, he appears.
Yes.
Don't do it.
He puts the die in diocese, so...
Now that I figured this out, okay. We need to somehow locate the black box and steal it. That sounds like our job that we need to do. We also need to figure out what to do about Grace in Williams-Sonoma.
Okay, please tell me about that.
Sterling?
He's the worst.
No, more detail than that, Sterling. We know she's the worst. She's trying to get Benny put away for life. What does she do? Who does she work for?
I don't know who's paying her, but ultimately it's their fault.
Why does she have a problem with Benny?
Assume she was hired to investigate.
Who would have hired her?
Could have been Nathan, before his rather untimely, timely demise at this point. Other than that, unless it was Lantern Corps? But why would Lantern Corps care what happened to Subway, unless they just care about what happens to Benny?
Do we know much about Ben?
So what you all know about Benny, first of all, you are all 90% sure Benny is a vampire. You also know Benny is one of the founders of Lantern Corporation and is a disgraced CEO of the corporation. You don't know why he was disgraced from the corporation and ultimately bought out by Mr. Procter & Gamble. But you know that basically he had a very strict non-disclosure agreement to not disclose anything he knows about Lantern Corporation after he left, and he then founded Subway. You know that this trial is going to be...
ESPN.
Yeah, there we go. ESPN. Sorry. You do know that because he is a former Lantern Corps executive, he is a high-profile individual, and there could be lots of eyes on this case. You also suspect that his train locker, which you recently lost the key to, may have incriminating evidence about Lantern Corporation that could be used to get the city to drop charges against Benny if you had that information.
We also know he's one of the founders of the city at this point.
Is your relationship with him public?
It's all there in the employment records.
So this very benevolent person took you all in, and someone out there is trying to ruin your lives.
I think what she's getting at is we're thinking too small.
How do we want to do this? Is this where we get into planning our job?
I think so. I need to open the rule book, which I forgot to open. 1 second. It's time for the engagement roll.
Now, as the lawyer, you should have already had this book memorized.
Gotta know your affidavit.
No one can remember all the laws. It's impossible.
I'd like to present you with my medical excuse card. I have ADHD. I am bad at memorizing things. All right, so let's go over the planning engagement now that I found the correct section in the book. Here's my zoom button. This font is tiny. What is your approach going to be? Your options are assault, deception, stealth, the occult, social, or transport. Probably not smuggling. That would be weird, since you're ostensibly stealing a thing. So, assault, you could do a violence to get that black box. Deception, stealth. You do have an occult guy. I don't know how much engaging a supernatural power would necessarily help you. And social, you can negotiate, bargain, or persuade. What is the method you think you're going to apply to get to the black box?
Well, I mean, smuggling would be smuggling the black box out of wherever it's currently being held, which I am assuming is with the local constabulary, which, by the way, used to be constable, but they put the emphasis on the stab in stabulary.
What is it with you and knives lately? I don't... You're a very stabby person lately.
Lately? My dear boy, have you been paying attention?
No, I have not.
It's my entire identity.
He started by literally stabbing Swift.
I'm running a hospital right now. And a corporation. I don't have time for any of this short-term memory. Do we want to go deception? Here's my question for you, Miss Wentworth, Attorney Wentworth, excuse me. Can you get into the evidence locker as Benny's attorney? Can you get... You're entitled to a copy of that evidence, aren't you?
Yes, I am entitled to the evidence.
Are you entitled to bring, a paralegal or some other person in with you to take a look at that evidence who may or may not be able to fry the contents of it and destroy it while leaving it looking completely fine?
I have recently hired a new paralegal that's in this room right now.
Everyone turns and looks at Sterling.
I was going to say Sterling probably has the most legal experience other than Miss Wentworth.
Oh, I think that it's a bold idea to take Sterling with you. I trust Sterling with my life. And now I'm trusting Sterling with our dear friend's life instead. But may I suggest that we don't do a violence immediately upon the evidence? That might be a little suspicious, don't you think?
Yes.
Well, if nobody's seen it, and a magnet somehow happens to be run over it, then who's to say? I mean, really, who's to say?
They would have to be very discreet.
only you all knew some sort of artificer / mad scientist who would know how to manipulate or create false footage.
You hush, disembodied voice.
Control yourself. We're trying to have a meeting.
What disembodied voice are you even talking about?
I've been hearing this thing since my conception.
Sometimes you whisper Blades Daddy in your sleep.
I like the idea that Morgan Freeman just narrated to Max what was going on.
You gotta get living, or you end up dying.
Right, so which one of you is my new paralegal that's coming with me?
I guess that would be me. I am the... or... we go talk to Dr. Feelgood.
No, you fool, it has to be Sterling. Sterling's the only one. It must be Sterling! Sorry.
Sterling...
Sorry,
Well, here's your employment contract as my paralegal, and the contract will end upon completion of this case.
Can I take a look at that before?
Yeah.
All right, Jim, roll survey. Or study. Study, as I'm more appropriate here, actually.
Alright, let's see. That's been God knows how long since I've actually rolled that. Oh, that's actually not bad.
This is controlled and limited because you're not a...
That's a 4.
All right, with a 4, you recognize these as words in a language that you speak. You haven't seen most of them in this order and are not sure on the syntax of which they read.
This looks like a contract to me, Sterling. I think you'll be okay.
Oh, now you want me to sign?
Well, I mean, if you're the one who's going to be going in to help Miss Wentworth, then yes, I would need you to sign... fine, I'll sign it on your behalf.
I can do it.
who made that decision?
You just said it had to be Sterling.
What?
We can do a flashback or something to decide who does it at the time you do it. Sounds like you are between stealth and deception as your means of committing this
I
crime.
just pictured Sterling and Winston both signing their name. Like, both writing Sterling.
Wait, what if you guys put on a really big jacket and are just a two-headed person?
Can we be 2 paralegals in a trench coat?
A paralegals.
Exactly.
I'll give you a bonus die on whatever the next thing I make you roll for that joke.
I hate it so much. It's so beautiful.
Anyway, does somebody want to lock in either deception or stealth?
Let's go deception, I think. I one vote for deception.
Well, it sounds like we're going for deception, so yeah.
Well, I'm not actually going to give you an answer for this because I am not taking any responsibility. But if I did contribute to this, deception would be a good choice.
All right, it sounds like a majority of votes for deception.
Enjoy what you're hearing? Rate us on your favorite podcatcher. Reviews on platforms like Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods help new listeners find our content. It's a completely free way to support the show. Thanks for listening.
Christina, I'm all caught up in my favorite actual play podcast. What should I do?
All of them? Even my podcast, Agents of Damned?
That's right. Your show's excellent, but I'm up to date on that one too. I'm not sure what to check out next.
Yeah, I know. There's just so many excellent actual play productions out there, it can be overwhelming to choose one.
Not to worry, friends. I can make some recommendations.
Oh my gosh, it's multi-talented TTRPG actual play performer and professional musician Marty Balmer.
That's right. Just check out my new podcast, College of Whispers. We're the actual play book club that can help you find your new favorite production. Join me and my co-host Vicky every month as we review and analyze different productions in a spoiler-light format that's both entertaining and informative.
Wow, that sounds great. You don't just look at the big name productions, right?
Yeah, I feel like whenever I ask for podcast recommendations, The same handful of super popular mainstream shows is all I get suggestions for.
Not to fear, on College of Whispers, we look at a mix of big names and indie productions, so the scrappy up-and-coming shows can get their moment in the sun as well.
Well, I'm sold. I'm gonna go download College of Whispers on my favorite podcatcher right now. Thanks, Marty.
Wait, Paul, we're part of the Bard Rock Network now. How is any of this news to you?
Give them a listen, everybody. So, the detail. You know where you're going to go. It's going to be the evidence locker at the police station. You have a general idea what your plan is. I think the missing detail is what you're going to do to the black box. It's unclear if you're destroying it, if you are placing the footage, you're tampering with the footage. That feels like the detail you all need to lock in now is what you're specifically doing.
Since I have now been able to craft with arcane features since I took strange methods, could I create a facsimile?
I would argue you could with a tinker roll.
Sounds good to me.
Just put a ghost in the box and the ghost will change the footage.
That's typically how I solve all my problems. I'll push myself and I'll take 2 stress to try to... So I'll give myself 3 dice and tinker.
At this stage, you don't need to do it. You need to be able to do it when you have, like, the box in front of you, or, like, whatever. Like, we're just doing the plan.
Got it.
That's your detail. All right, so now the engagement. So I'm going to go through this. We're going to let Janie roll, because this is Janie's guest arc. So just, Janie, get a fistful of D6. You're going to start with 1 D6 for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? You're going to rob the police. That feels pretty daring. Plus 1D. Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors? I don't think so. Does it expose their vulnerability to target or hit them where they're weakest? I don't think so. That's worth 2 dice. Do you have any friends or contacts that provide insight for this operation? I feel like your attorney who knows the legal system and how you can do this does, so I'll give you 1D. 3 dice. Are there any other elements you think I should consider?
So you give me 1 for legal experience.
Yes, you get 1 for legal experience, 1 for the operation being bold and daring, and 1 for raw luck. So you have 3, unless anyone can argue why you should get any.
Because we've been so good.
You're a kind and generous Blades Daddy.
Now, see, if I was kind or generous, I would let Sterling donate the bonus dice I just gave him, but I'm not going to do that. 3 dice seems like plenty.
Is there any way that I can lend any of my stealthy abilities? I have 2 points in stealth.
The plan did not involve Max being stealthy, so no.
But I can like, get on Sterling's back, and...
Now there's 3 people in this trench coat.
Max, why do you keep quantifying your skills with, like, point systems?
It's an easy way to think about things. I mean, everyone is to numbers at a certain time in their lives. You might as well just embrace it and just be the number that you're meant to be.
Is that why you're carrying around this piece of paper with all of your information on it?
Oh no, that's my manifesto I'm working on.
I think it's really funny. Lizzie's the one with the computer hotwired to her brain. She's not the one that sees everything as game stats.
So my structured settlement is a 5, a 4, and a 2.
4 or 5 is a risky position. 6 would be a controlled position. 1 to 3 would be desperate. So risky. This is a pretty standard. Like, you got kind of the middle ground. Like, you feel like you guys have a good plan. You feel like there are some inherent risks that you're going to have to deal with. You're not going to be able to tackle that right now. The trial is coming up soon. Like, the opening statement is not the full trial. You don't need to worry about that black box being shown, just opening statements. They have you booked for like an hour because the judge... They originally booked this with the understanding that Benny was making a plea deal. And you all said, no, he's taking that back. He actually wants to, do the trial. And so the court has only booked for like an hour to originally settle this. They're not going to have time to pull all the evidence out of the evidence box. you're very confident you have time. You don't need to do it next hour.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to do before the trial?
Yes, I would like to know why it is that everybody thinks that Benny is a vampire, and the person who founded Paradise, because that is very confusing.
Sterling, would you like to take this? It is your theory.
Have any of us seen him in the sunlight?
I mean, this is the Pacific Northwest. It's very rarely sunny here.
Live here. He only goes out at night, and he only drinks that special whiskey. And I have some notes somewhere. He just kind of starts wrestling around. There's so much evidence.
Also, we saw a photograph of you and him at Famous Footwear. At the founding of
and his
Paradise.
Blood.
Yeah, and he gave us a vial of... dude, no, we're not supposed to talk about
and
that.
His blood is normal.
I'm sorry? You saw a painting?
Yes, there was the history of Paradise, and there was a photograph of the founding, the groundbreaking ceremony, and you and Benny were both in the photo. Newsflash, you're old.
So what does this do with the case?
Max is just gonna kind of look off into the distance. His eye twitches a little bit, and you can hear his neck as like a vertebrae snaps into place. I need to lay down. I think that it's time for my bed.
Yeah, I got a blanket, buddy.
As far as what this has to do with the case, if Benny is a vampire, I would assume that would complicate things for him significantly. Whether he's being properly cared for, whether he's being exposed to danger, whether also the whole war that nearly ended society.
Have anybody asked him if he is a vampire?
We just found out these little clues since he went to jail.
That's not something you really do in polite company, is it? I mean, I feel like that's offensive.
I'll put an inquiry in to make sure that he's getting the care that he needs, and I'll say that there's some concern from his, from you all.
Why? Vampires are not real. Why would you? Are you all crazy? Are you all?
None of us said vampires were real. That is that's an accusation. We did not say that. Did anybody say that? No, nobody said that.
It's hearsay.
Yeah, it's hearsay.
Circumstantial evidence, what can I say?
And maybe get him some of his special medicine.
I like how Winston was just like, you can't just ask somebody if they're a vampire, Gina.
So for Lizzie, would definitely just straight up ask.
What time do we need to be at the courthouse? Because we have some things we need to do before then. Lizzie, I think if we don't get over to the train station,
we're gonna miss our opportunity.
Yeah, we start trial at start trial time, so you have an approximation of time, which means that Janie doesn't know what time it starts.
In universe expansion, you have like an hour and a half, which is code for you have time to do one thing, because the time it would take to take the elevator and clear security in the courthouse.
Okay, so yeah, one thing.
JG thinks that she has to take the stairs. You all have the elevator. By the way, Janie, this city is built into modern day Mount Rainier. So in order to get from where you are, the base of the mountain, to the middle of the mountain where the courthouse is, you have to climb approximately 300 or 400 flights of stairs.
What?
Unless you have the key fob.
Yes, only rich people can take the elevator, so everyone else is expected to climb hundreds of thousands of stairs to get anywhere relevant in the city, because you are poor.
If only we knew someone who had a key fob.
Yes, fortunately, in the first episode of this podcast, they stole the elevator key from the elevator attendant.
So I have to walk up the stairs.
Like, you can take the elevator if everyone wants to let you know, but theoretically, you think you're taking the stairs.
Miss Wentworth, you can take the elevator up with us, but we have a little bit of business to attend. You know what? Why don't you go with Max and Sterling to talk to the police and try to get the report from the famous factory? You could probably help them much more than I could or even Lizzie could.
All right.
All right, so it sounds like we're splitting it up so that Max, Sterling, and JG are going to the police station, and Winston and Lizzie are going to the train station, which the train station is basically next door because you guys are adjacent to the train tracks. It is a brisk walk down the street.
Now, I don't want to bring something up that would derail us, but should Max and I have power suits?
Yes.
Riley, you disarmed me with that comment so much that I both knocked the earbuds out of my head and stopped my recording.
Oh no.
You fucked my shit right up.
You know, it's weird. Riley's thinking about this, and actually, Sterling's thinking about this. And Sterling realizes that Benny does have a wardrobe of nice clothes that he keeps for business meetings in the back of the office, including suits that are very obviously for Max. Sterling might have the problem where Sterling is bigger than Benny, but we'll say a one-size-fits-all suit just magically fits to you like a video game item added to your inventory. While you guys do a wardrobe montage, let's go with Winston and Lizzie to the train station.
Dun 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 dun.
If this is a wardrobe montage, it's going to look like the opening of Law and Order of just like standing around looking powerful.
Sleeves torn off my suit.
You've entered the train station and you beeline directly to Benny's locker. It's in the catacomb below the station itself. Older lockers built directly into the building's foundation. You traverse the stairs and can see where the locker was, directly in front of you as you reach the bottom.
Was?
Where once a steel door stood between you and the inside of this locker, the door has been ripped entirely from the frame and tossed aside, mangled and twisted. The locker itself, and enormous on the inside, functionally being a large room twice the size of a standard storage locker, much larger than the locker you probably expected. This place has been ransacked, turned upside down. Walls are lined with shelves that have been toppled over, and there are scrape marks from several clearly large and heavy containers that have been removed. All that remains is a picture on the wall of Benny, Max as you saw him in his youth, and a young woman. On the floor, you find the only piece of evidence you need to know who stole your stuff. A crumbled rectangular carton fit in your hand with a tiny bendy straw coming out of it. The label says, Strawberry by Julius Orange.
Okay, I guess, first thing we need to do is we need to take that painting off the wall and bring it home with us. Can I recognize the woman who's in the painting?
Go ahead and roll for it. Roll study. See if you recognize this person, because you might.
It's a 4.
She does look faintly familiar, but you don't know why.
Lizzie was gonna look at that also.
Alright, Lizzie, roll study.
That's a 4-2.
Yeah, no, she looks vaguely familiar to you both. Shadow is very excited about this. Shadow's like, bark, 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 bark. Like, just barking at the Rawberry thing and also this painting. You said you removed the painting from the wall?
Yes.
On the back of the painting, you know how, like, a lot of the times old photos, they write who's in the photo on the back?
Yes.
You see Benny, Max, and Rebecca.
Who's Rebecca?
I don't know, Rebecca. We'll have to ask Max.
All right, let's roll it up. We'll toss it in our bag. Is there anything here that's salvageable?
Roll survey.
Lizzie, is there anything here that's
I'm
salvageable?
working on it.
I'm gonna give her the help action.
That's a 5. Oh, okay, so I get to roll another one. It's still a 5.
All right, with a 5, you look through. You start you don't have a lot of time because you do have to get going, but you're flipping through all of this stuff, lifting up the shelves, and you find a folder that says, it's actually Benny's usually pretty discreet. This literally just says Lantern Corp Secrets, and it's empty.
Subtle.
This doesn't seem like anything, does it?
No, not at all.
I mean, obviously they would have taken it if it was something important. We should just leave this here.
Actually, it's not entirely empty. You open it up, and you do see another photo of this woman. It's an HR file. Except her name on the HR file, you have the thing where it's just a picture of her and all her company information. It lists her name as Samantha Sung, the Chief Operating Officer of Lantern.
Samantha Sung? Wait a minute, isn't this the same... Do my eyes deceive me, or is this the same woman?
Yeah, it is.
All right, we need to get back to Max. Let's go to the elevator and try to figure out exactly what's going on here. I'm worried we're gonna break him if we do this.
Yep.
You know what? He's due for his shot in 3 or 4 days. Hopefully by the end of the trial, we can figure this out before the end of the trial, once he's lucid. Actually, can I pick up my phone and call Dijonais? Real quick.
You mean your radio? We don't have cell phones in this universe.
My sending stone.
Yes, you go to your proprietary ESPN radio signal, which Dijonais has the signal for, and you call her up. What can I do you for, Winston?
Dijonais, I don't know if you've even thought about this, but what would happen if I were to give Max his medication early?
Well, one of two things would happen. He could be perfectly fine, or his heart could explode. Not 100% sure. It is some sort of, near as I can tell, immortality serum. I think it would be classified as an overdose if I were to use medical terminology.
So what you're saying is it's a very bad idea.
Yes, unless he is literally on death's door, I would not give it to him sooner than 1 day before he scheduled.
What if I were to make it so he was on death's door?
It would theoretically revive him if he were dead or dying.
Okay, I will file that in my back pocket if circumstances become incredibly dire. But thank you, Dijonais. As always, it's a pleasure and a wonder to speak with you. You are my best friend.
Oh, I appreciate that. And you two march off toward the elevator. We're going to cut to JG and Max and Sterling as you all walk to the police station. You all see operating the desk a very familiar face, Sergeant Pepper. Oh, if it isn't the heroes of the Salvation train station. You all stopped that robbery about a week ago. Oh, good job. My cousin really put you up in. Oh, I see you're with JG Wentworth from the defense attorney's office. What can I do you for, Miss Wentworth?
Yes, I'm here to get information on the famous footwear factory incident.
Oh yeah, over in Salvation. I'm kind of curious what your legal interest is, but yeah, basically, and he's like, let me just pull that up really quick. The case file's still ongoing. Yeah, it looks like they had a fucking death claw from Fallout just rampaged the facility, destroyed damn near everything.
I see.
The building physically collapsed. Almost like they had a 10,000-pound dinosaur jump on the roof really, really hard and collapse through 3 floors, and then the rest of the building's structural integrity was damaged.
Sterling, these what do you call it, underpants? I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
We're gonna get through this, Max. Somehow.
And if you want to know more about that, Mr. Famous Nathan did give us a full detailed thing. Apparently someone was trying to rob the facility. He did not say who. But they got away scot-free by releasing the fucking death claw from Fallout, near as the report says.
It's extreme for a robbery.
It is extreme for a robbery. We lost a lot of good people trying to stop that robbery, including a proprietary steampunk RoboCop.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Horrible.
I'm not.
But yes, I would like that information.
Shoddy craftsmanship, and it's just it couldn't even turn its neck very well. It's just almost had to turn its whole upper body at some point.
Sure, let me go ahead and just talk to our copy department about getting a copy of this file made for your office.
Thank you.
And he approaches a police officer that's wearing a bright orange jumpsuit, bright yellow hair, and a blue headband. Here you go, Chief. Can you just get me a copy of this? He's like, yeah, sure. He walks away to another room. You hear, like, a poof noise as he yells something in a language you don't understand. And then he walks out, and he's got 2 copies of the folder.
You've been waiting, like, almost 2 months to get Copy Jitsu into the podcast.
I have. All copiers in this universe are just Naruto.
Oh, you're such a gem. Thank you for this.
Believe it.
Believe what?
Exactly.
So we got the information that we need. Let's leave these fine officers to do their jobs.
What?
All right, and you actually watch as you walk away as a second copy of the man in the orange jumpsuit with blonde hair comes out drinking a cup of coffee and just makes conversation with himself.
So let's just get out of here so that we're not in a triggering situation for you anymore.
I don't like this. This is very triggering. Can I take these underpants off now?
How about we get inside first? You can have a little privacy.
Who needs privacy at my age? It's surprising if anyone sees anything different on my anatomy. If you see something different, notify me immediately after you shoot it off.
Well, that's not what I was hired for, so I will not be doing that.
Oh, okay.
So through the magical power of a jump cut, all of the elevator and Max and Sterling have changed out of their clothes if they so desire into their regular clothes. You all scan your fob and get into the elevator. Dami, if you could please insert the elevator music here.
Get down with the sickness!
Audience, if you want to just imagine that one scene, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where they're just headbanging the elevator, that's that, but our characters. So, you guys get to the top, the middle of the elevator, really, to the Artisan District, and it's a brief walk to the courthouse. JG bids you well. I'm taking control of your character for a second. You have to get to your area. They're allowed in the audience. You take your seats. JG, once you're in position, Benny is brought in and seated next to you, with a sharply dressed attorney sitting at the table to the left side of the aisle from you. This gentleman is tall and bony. Every single corner of him seems to be a sharp edge, from his knees to his elbows to his ears and nose. Slicked back black hair, the black suit, red tie, and rimmed glasses. Most of you wouldn't know him, but JG, you do. You're familiar with this prosecutor, Sherwin Williams. Wentworth. The bailiff stands and shouts, "All stand! Honorable Judge Morgan residing." Sterling, you have flashbacks. You recognize that name immediately, as from the back of the courtroom, a monolith of a man enters. As you all know, I have a propensity in this campaign for beefy NPCs. Justice Preston Morgan, known as Francis JP, is no exception. Somewhere between Sterling and Victor Lord in size, wearing a powdered wig, he has a stony face, a cold expression as he marches to his bench, each footfall seeming to shake the courtroom like thunder. Sterling, you recognize him because he is the judge who oversaw your juvenile criminal trial years ago.
Sterling, is he a homunculus?
I wish. We could just tear him apart.
I will actually say, Winston, you know from experience, he's not quite big enough to be a homunculus. The homunculi you've seen are all just slightly bigger. You do get the impression he's probably on the juice.
Does he have a rawberry box somewhere on his desk?
Roll survey.
Make me roll a bad one. Okay. That's a 1.
You have no fucking clue But I will give you the one. You do see Julius Orange sitting in the audience in all of his steampunk pimp glory.
Does Lizzie see him?
Oh yeah, you can't miss Julius fucking Orange. This guy is a huge fucking monument of a man wearing a big steampunk clock like Flava Flav around his neck. And you can't miss this guy. He's a satire of a pimp, but in steampunk setting.
Does he seem like he's anxious as soon as he sees us come in?
He doesn't. Anxious is the wrong word. He actually looks at you with spite and vengeance. The fact that ESPN has been fingered as people who destroyed this dirigible that had his shit, he is mad at you.
Can I take a seat next to him?
Sure.
I'm gonna go sit on the other side of him.
I will say there's only one seat next to him. He has 3 bulky bodyguards sitting seats on the other side of him. So if you want to sit on the other side of the bulky bodyguards or in a nearby seat, you can, but you cannot flank him.
I'm gonna sit directly behind him.
Alright. Well, what was his voice? It's been like 8 episodes.
It's changed with time. He's been through a lot.
Oh, if it isn't ESPN, what can I do for you?
Greetings and salutations, Mr. Orange. I'm kind of confused as to your issue with us. In case you forget, we made our delivery that we contracted with you for in a timely and proper fashion. Those juice boxes made it exactly where they needed to get to in exactly the time frame. If you have an issue with anything, you should have taken issue with Famous Nathan and how he handled his subcontracting duties.
So you're saying I shouldn't take your now former CEO, who's on trial for sabotaging my blimp that had my other shipment on it, at face value, even though he outright confessed to orchestrating the crime.
He's very old and has not quite sure exactly what's going on anymore. I mean, look at him. He's nearly as old as Maximilian Graves is. Now, listen, between you and me, he's been hitting the sauce pretty hard as of late. I mean, keeps a bottle of whiskey on his desk, drinks the whole thing by the time the day is over. I don't think he knows where he is half the time. Now, speaking of where people are, and where they aren't supposed to be, my friends and I had a few visitors last night. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
You've seen the people work with me. He just gestures at his employees. Do you recall any roughly 400-pound muscular people entering your home or think they could have done so without you knowing?
No, but I recall going to where the target of their ill intent was and seeing a large steel door ripped off its frame, and I found a box of raw berry smoothie, I believe you call it, raw berry smoothie, which is kind of weird because I thought you were a juice guy, was left behind at the scene.
Lots of people drink my juice products and my juice accessories. That sounds like what we would call in a courtroom parlance, circumstantial evidence.
Why don't you tell me the truth, Mr. Orange, so we can keep our relationship civil? Because I have an interest in making sure that Mr. Franks is released into my care and treated for whatever condition he may have that is causing him this dementia. You have an interest in making sure that you find out exactly what happened to your shipment. And I think our interests can align, so why don't you tell me the truth about what happened? And I would like roll command.
All right, roll command.
And I will push myself, so I'm going to take 2 stress. So that's 3 days.
Would it help any that I'm back there just being menacing as a help?
If you want to take stress to help out, sure.
Yeah, I'll take stress.
That's a 6. A 6, a 2, a 2, and a 1.
All right, so with a 6, he looks you dead in the eye. Says, "I'll be honest with you." And he puts his big, meaty hand on your shoulder and he squeezes what you imagine he thinks is gently, But you feel like the crushing weight of somebody squeezing just a little too hard as like he's trying to intimidate you. He's talking like, truth is, and he's saying this in a hushed voice. Famous Nathan had me sit down with Jersey Mike after that crash, and Jersey Mike told me exactly what happened. I know damn well the responsible for the crash. That's why I have a vested interest in seeing your friend put away for life. And I'm going to do a murder when there aren't a bunch of witnesses here. Are we clear, Dr. Thoreau?
We're crystal clear. And with that, I would like to release Ames to do the trick where he pulls down the person's pants as soon as he decides to leave.
Okay, so Ames is invisible in the crowd waiting for Julius to stand up. Got it.
Yep, I'm going to go back to my seat and signal to Lizzie to join me and leave Ames as a, almost like a landmine. As soon as he stands up, I'm going to have him pantsed.
Noted. The judge takes his seat after a round of this conversation happened. Bangs his gavel. Order! The court will now hear the case of Paradise versus Franks. Prosecutor, make your opening statement. Sherwin Williams approaches the front of the room, turns to face the audience. There's notably no jury in the Paradise legal system. The corporate powers that be had done away with juries in the new order because it didn't make sense to them, for those who don't know the law, to pass judgment under it. Surely just letting the judge make the final determination of innocence and guilt had no problems, even though the legal system now had a 98% conviction. Which is miraculous when you take into account the fact J.G. Wentworth has never lost a case. Facts of this case are simple. Subway Delivery Company's flagship dirigible crashed delivering a shipment to the esteemed Julius Orange. He gestures toward the audience where Orange sits, in all of his steampunk glory, while their competitors, the Express Service Parcel Network, aka P, were making a delivery to Mr. Orange as well. We have a confession from the defendant, Mr. Benjamin Franks, the now former CEO of ESPN. He takes full responsibility for the employees who sabotaged the dirigible and no doubt died of fire explosion. This case should be open and shut, Your Honor. Only reason we are arbitrating this matter at all, because after his confession, Franks acquired counsel that are now trying to rescind his confession and pleading. Why should we let them make a mockery of this courtroom and our legal system? Convict Franks of the crime for which he confessed and move on. And with that, Williams returns to his seat. It's time for the defense to make their opening statement. JG, please, take your position in the courtroom and argue why the judge should throw out Benny's original confession.
Your Honor, my client feels a deep sense of responsibility for this town. He takes everything that happened so personally. And with the tragedy that happened, he thought he was doing the right thing. And the fact is that he did not. Because the person who's actually responsible for this needs to come forward. Because the what was lost, the money, the lives, the business, the order, it was just too much to handle. He really wants to do the right thing, and we really want justice to be served.
JG, roll sway.
Is it possible to take some stress to help?
If you can tell me how Sterling is helping from the audience.
That's a good question. Would the power suit help? What if I have a clipboard?
Does Sterling just get up and walk and sit down like their co-counsel?
Oh, can I do that? I wanted to sit at the front.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you take the seat on the other side of Benny, don't worry, Benny, I got this. What the fuck are you doing up here? And you just shush him. Yeah, okay, take some stress as you act like you're JG's co-counsel.
I think I gave myself 2 in sway. It's the dot and then one beside it.
Alright, perfect. So you're gonna roll 2d6 plus 1 more for Sterling's help. You do have the option in Blades to take 1 stress to give yourself an additional bonus die if you think the roll is particularly important.
I'm going to take a stress.
Alright, so that will be 4d6 total.
I'm going to roll 3 tiny little dice and 1 dice with a rainbow on it that I can't identify. a 6, a 5, and 2 2s.
All right, with a 6, a complete success. The judge thinks for what feels like an eternity, having heard your opening statement. His gaze falls upon the audience, and you kind of look over the audience to see who he's looking for. You see Julius Orange, you see Subway Executive Vice President and Acting CEO Jimmy John, investigators Amazing Grace and William Sonoma, naturally Famous Nathan, or as you all know now, one of the 6 remaining automatons posing for Famous Nathan. But none of them are where the judge's gaze falls. At the back of the room, there are 2 older gentlemen, pale in complexion and gray-haired, at the very, very back. One is tall and thin, wearing a regal suit. The other is short and stocky, in a tacky southern dandy get-up, polishing a gold watch. Most of you only know them by reputation, occasional news piece, Misters Procter and Gamble, the CEO and CFO of Lantern Corp. And sitting beside them, you see a woman who may or may not be named Rebecca, but is also known as Samantha Sung, or Sam Sung for short, the Chief Operating Officer of Lantern. Procter gives the judge a slight nod, and Judge Morgan makes his decision. The court will entertain the defendant's case for the time being. Unfortunately, my court is very busy. We had not booked this as the priority case this week, because at the time we calendared it, we thought this was just going to be a plea deal arrangement, maybe like 15 minutes. We're going to resume at this time tomorrow. Since the defendant is rescinding his confession, we will begin by reviewing the footage of the black box as part of that proceeding. Court adjourned. He bangs his gavel, and the next case is ushered in. Benny looks very concerned at you all as the bailiff marches him out. Winston, as he passes by you, grabs your sleeve. Isn't close. I am begging you, don't let that black box footage see the light of day. All he can say before the bailiff drags him away.
It's okay, Benny, we got this.
We give Benny a meaningful look.
Are Samsung, Procter and Gamble still in the back of the courtroom, or did they sneak out?
They're still there. They're gathering their things right now.
I'm going to elbow Max. And I'm going to say, do you know who those men are?
Oh, you know how fragile my bones are. Which one? The ones in the back?
Yeah, the 2 who look to be about the same age as you. And the woman that's next to them.
So, Justin, I will tell you, the woman you see is Rebecca. If Max would recognize Rebecca, he would recognize her as Rebecca.
The 2 men, Procter and Gamble, I believe, but...
And that's all I need to hear, and I push him aside and I walk up to talk to Procter and Gamble. So, gentlemen, Misters Procter, Mr. Gamble, greetings and salutations. I'm sure you probably have no idea who I am, but my name is Dr. Winston Thoreau. I'm the acting CEO of ESPN. It's a pleasure to meet you both.
Oh, I do declare, I know exactly who you are. You were, what did they call him back in the day? You were Famous Winston, if I recall, before your family disowned you.
For a brief period of time, yes, I was part of the Famous family. It's a dark chapter in my life that I do not look fondly upon, but thank you for bringing it up and reopening that wound. Really, really happy to hear that. I just wanted to make sure that you both received the invitation to the hospital's grand opening, because I have some news for you both that I'm sure that you'll be really glad to hear.
Oh, we did, actually. They turn and, they see, you have, a 4th person with them. It's just, clearly a personal assistant follows them around and carries their things for them and does all of the, minutia that they don't want to bother doing at their pay grade. You have that, 2 o'clock tomorrow, guys. We'll be there. We wouldn't miss it for the world.
Wonderful. I'm so happy. And you, Miss, Rebecca, I believe your name is?
When you say that name, the expression of all 3 of them changes dramatically. Before, Procter & Gamble regarding you as a minor nuisance, you see a look of vitriol, hatred, and violence. What you actually have Procter say, it's Excuse me, I think this man has a weapon. And the bailiff, who was ushering Benny out, grabs you from behind.
So I had aims on preparation.
You did.
Right. So can I have, instead of pulling down Julius Orange's pants, can I have him now pull the bailiff's pants down so the bailiff just falls and eats shit?
Roll a tune. I'm going to give you a -D because there is a comparably powerful spectrologist here who can try and contest your control of aims.
Okay. All right, I will push myself, so I will still roll 3D. 2 5s and a 1.
The bailiff does get pantsed, but what happens with a 5 is Mr. Gamble reaches out and grabs you instead. He is freakishly strong, even compared to you've dealt with some strong people. Julius Orange just fondled your shoulder in a way you think your grandchildren feel. And that is nothing compared to the paranormal strength of Gamble's grip on your wrist. Boy, you had best not go to running your mouth about things you not understand. You hear me?
It's funny that you think I don't understand what's happening right now.
Thoreau!
Oh, Max, I'm sure. Can I introduce you to Mr. Proctor and Gamble? And I believe...
Back away now.
All right, Max. Mr. Proctor, Gamble, ma'am. My compatriots apparently need my help. So I will take my leave of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the grand opening tomorrow.
All right, we are going to just do something really quick that we don't normally do on the show. Winston, roll to resist consequences. You are going to take stress as you feel Gamble like siphoning off some of your soul through your wrist.
Is this going to be a level? Oh boy. Okay.
You can voluntarily take a level of harm instead.
Yeah, I'll take the level 1 harm because I only have 3 ticks left right now.
Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a level 1 harm of drained. You feel very tired. And he looks revitalized. He looks like he just had a fucking 5-hour energy.
You know what? Actually, let me roll to reduce that. What do I roll to reduce that? Because I think if I take a trauma here and if I take reckless, that actually might be more narratively interesting, rather than I'm not playing safe.
Yeah, you roll a d6 and you take a number of stress as the result instead of the harm.
That's gonna fill my stress bar. So I'm going to take our first trauma. And
Lizzie already has 2.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yours are mechanically from doing a drug, not from the reason you get traumas.
True.
Actually, should I take reckless or obsessed here?
Obsessed.
Yeah, I think obsessed might work better. I'm obsessed with making sure that I take down Procter & Gamble. He tries to siphon off some of my soul, and I feel like I resist. I use my spiritual energies to resist his pull.
All right.
And now I've made a mortal enemy.
You've made mortal enemies of these people, yes. But as they let you go, Proctor says, Maximilian, I haven't seen you in a dog's age.
You would know, being a dog.
Still that sense of humor. It's funny. It's only through Benny's good graces that we let you have as much free reign as you have, so hopefully for you his trial goes okay.
How are you here?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your meaning, sir.
I'm not talking to you, imbecile. I'm talking to her.
Oh, Max, it's been so long, I wouldn't know where to begin.
You could always begin where it ended. That would be a pretty good place for. And Max just starts twitching. You see a little foam in the corner of his mouth.
Procter and Gamble had kind of been using themselves as shields between you and Samantha, folks. she kind of reaches out an arm and brushes them aside and says, I got this, boys.
Can I see if I notice anything about the hand she brushes them away?
Sure. Go ahead and roll study.
Oh boy. Okay. I got a 2.
The 2, there's something off about her hand. You're not 100% sure. You don't connect all the dots, but you do realize one hand has 4 fingers.
I want it back.
Max, why don't we meet and catch up? Do you have dinner plans tonight?
I do now.
I'm sorry, is that you accepted my invitation, or do you have an alternative plan?
No, I fully accept. You don't mind if I, dine alone tonight, do you, Dr. Thoreau?
Not at all, Max. You do know that if you need us, we will be available for you.
I appreciate it, my friend. Max just reaches out to the good doctor and puts his hand where Julius had put his, and with his feeble little fragile fingers kind of squeezes a little bit to drive home the point. Make sure that Benny is kept safe. Make sure that Sterling brushes their teeth before they go to bed.
I always do.
Make sure that Lizzie doesn't shoot anyone just for snoring too loudly like she did the other night. And I like this lawyer lady. She's pretty on the ball, but just in case nature takes its course tonight in its way that it takes all of us at some point, I just want you to know that you did a good job. You've done a very good job, and I am pleased to say that you are my friend.
I feel the same way about you, Max. This doesn't come lightly. I respect you more than anyone else I've ever met.
Well, you don't know that many people, so I will take the compliment for what it is.
Just before you go to dinner tonight, I do have one thing I need to show you back at the office.
I turn to the lady. Let's say we meet in an hour?
That'd be fine. There's this quaint little restaurant I enjoy here in the Artisan District. Can't remember the name of it, but they say it's the place where everybody vaguely remembers what you like. We'll meet.
Yes, it's become a chain. I can't remember the waiter's name, but they do look vaguely familiar.
The servers are all like mimes or something. It's peculiar, but I think it's very quaint.
I believe I know a few of the regulars there. I'm sure we can get a fine table.
Or I'll see you in an hour, old friend.
An hour.
Right now, all the court security kind of gathered around for now having this very casual conversation. And Procter & Gamble kind of just waved them off like, fine, you go back to what we're paying you for. And they just gonna go back about their business. And Procter & Gamble take their leave with Samantha/Rebecca behind them.
Max immediately just sits down. Doesn't care if there's a chair or a bench or anything, he's just down.
Lizzie was behind him with a chair.
Is that an always thing that Lizzie does? Always just has a chair ready to go?
Yeah.
Just has a chair strapped to your back.
She just does one of the, has a camping chair that she could just, pop open at any...
Mm-hmm.
Well, she is our best shot, so she would be good at aiming for our butts. So. Max misses it completely.
Can we cut back to ESPN?
Jump cut, you all go back to ESPN, because Max going up and down this elevator is a relatively trivial task. You take the elevator back down to your headquarters, where you can all meet in the back room while whoever you have running the front desk is doing their thing.
So I take out the painting, and I take out the HR file, and I show them both to Max. If you're going to go meet with her tonight, I want you to be prepared. We made it to Benny's locker, which apparently was like a vault, not actually a locker. I was thinking like this little tiny like red metal door that would have like maybe like a file folder in it, but no, there was a whole vault below the train station. Who knows? And this is what we found.
Doctor, have you ever had an itch? Like, not on your skin, but somewhere underneath. It's just a very, very intense itch. No matter what you do, you can't scratch it.
I have recently developed one, funnily enough.
I've had that in my brain for a little bit. I thought, it must be the fact that I've been getting more exercise lately, feeling my oats, as it were. You and Sterling and Lizzie, you've all been very kind to me, and I appreciate it. But it's just.
Well, you're deserving of kindness, Max.
I am not, my friend. Did I ever tell you that I'm old?
It's one of your defining characteristics, Max.
I mean, I'm old. I know that at a certain age you just stop counting, and then your mind gets so full. It's almost like a balloon. A small pinprick here and there, and things just seem to leak out of it, and there's that itch.
Max, do you trust me?
Oh, implicitly with my life.
Lizzie, Sterling, do you trust me? I want everyone to know. I want to know if everyone trusts me before I make this choice.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like you're going to ask me to do a trust fall or something, and I'd probably break more than just a hip. I mean, yeah.
Sterling, do you trust me?
I trust you, Doc.
I reach around to my back behind my vest, and I remove a knife from little tiny holster, and I stab Max in the ribs. Right between the ribs.
Oh, well, this might put a damper on our relationship.
All right, so I assume Max is okay with being murdered because everyone established that they trust Winston.
Oh, yeah.
And Lizzie kind of already seen it coming anyways. Because she was there when Doc talked to Desanay.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time people just casually asked Lizzie, hey, can I attempt a murder on Max? I'd be up to like 3 nickels. Is JG here, by the way, watching you just stab Max, or is this a ESPN minus attorney meeting?
Even if she was there, I'm assuming she wouldn't claim to be.
Yeah, she's probably not there.
Okay, yeah, JG has gone to the law offices of Johnson & Johnson to work on the case for tomorrow, and might rendezvous with you all later today, i.e. next episode. But yeah, you stab Max. Max is on death's door. Give him his medicine?
Yes, I'm planning on giving him his medicine.
Alright, so you give him his medicine. Max, the wound seals up, your eyes pop wide open, and you do that thing, gasp for breath. And next episode, we'll be complete lucid for 1 episode.
Nice.
And now you have 1 less dose of the miracle medicine. I don't remember if you said there were 3 or 4. There was like a month of doses. I think you just used half of them. that is where we're going to end tonight's session. This has been Blades in Paradise. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for listening. And we're just going to add a little counter now. Max has now died 2 times.
Woo!
That's my first kill.
Blades in Paradise is Paul Kinter as Master of Ceremonies, Justin Langston as Maximilian Graves, Faith Queenie Long as Lizzie Calhoun, and Mel Riley as Sterling Ackred, and myself, Jim Remus, as Dr. Winston Thoreau. Dami Widener is our editor. You can directly support this show at patreon.com/bardrocknetwork, starting at just $3 a month. You can join us on Discord, you can come play games with us, we'll even send you network swag at the end of the year. You can visit our sponsor, Evil Hat Games, and use code BARDROCK10 to buy cool games like Blades in the Dark, and let them know we sent you. You can support the podcast for free by sharing us on social media, word of mouth, or rating and subscribing on your favorite podcatcher. Lastly, you support us just by listening. Thank you for listening, dear friends.